Good evening and welcome to another episode of Angels, Fairies, and Witches. I'm your host, Michelle. Thank you for inviting me into your home. So, today's episode, I have a couple of fun divination tools to tell you about. I did an episode of this and I only kind of briefly ran through a few of them. So, tonight I want to spend some time on each and every one of them. But first, a word about what is a divination tool. It's any physical object that you can use to get access to the divine. We should have some music now. Ah. Okay, so there are different cultures. I was thinking about I have a cup here that I also use to read tea leaves. This has been a practice that's mostly been done in ancient Greece. The problem I find with the tea leaves is sometimes to get an accurate reading, you have to brew it and then you have to keep drinking it. So you end up being very jittery by your third cup of tea, and that's not really fun. So these are some of the things that I use in my daily practice. First, of course, the crystal ball. And what witch doesn't have one of these? Crystal ball is a technique known as scrying. Scrying is anything that you look at with your physical eyes that opens up your third eye. And here's what I mean by that. As I gaze, oh, how cliche do I sound? Gaze into my crystal ball. Anyway. As I gaze into my crystal ball, I'm looking at it with my two physical eyes. So it's kind of like something that's keeping your eyes and your brain occupied so that your third eye and your spirituality can be open to receiving messages. Again, messages from who? The divine. It could be your departed loved ones, angels, the universe, God, goddesses. When you start practicing with these different tools, if you start, hearing anything bad, like kill the mailman, clearly that's your own stupid brain or too much movies or charmed or bewitched or whatever. Now, the messages you'll receive are love, support, encouragement, positivity, you can do it, I'm with you, good stuff, okay? So just edit yourself. Which is actually a line I took from L. Ron Hubbard's Scientology. They teach you how to, I don't know so much about it, but if ever Tom Cruise, because he's single now, gives me a call and wants to go out, I'll ask him all about Scientology, come back and tell you. But what I do know about it is that they have this thing called editing themselves, which is really not a bad idea. Kind of keep yourself in check, make sure you're operating at the highest possible level for yourself and for others. So anyway, lost my train of thought for a moment there. Anyway, so as you're gazing into the crystal ball, and so your eyes and your working brain are kind of focused on, ooh, this is pretty, it opens you up to different spirituality. Now, you might actually start seeing images in the crystal ball. If you don't have one of these, you can use, I tell people to get like a dark colored mug or bowl and fill it with water. Again, this technique is called scrying. So the reason for the dark mug is if it's a light colored mug and you can see the bottom, you really want to just look into something that you can't see the other side of, something very dense. So as you look through this, you might start seeing images, words, pictures. Again, just let it, you might want to have a pad of paper next to you and a pen and write down some of these images. And then afterwards, sit back, see what it says, see if it means anything to you. There's another technique that you can do. I didn't really have anything here about that, but it's called automatic writing. And what you do with automatic writing is, again, you always want the most serene environment. And I know sometimes that's very hard to accomplish. Here in this house with kids and cats and friends and the dead, serenity is a little hard to come by. So with automatic writing, you just maybe want to think of a problem or a situation and just, you're writing. You're not really watching what you're doing. You're maybe focusing on an object like a crystal ball or a candle or listening to some soothing music. And then at the end, take a look at what you've written. See if this has meaning in your life, because that's another way that the other side can communicate with us. Now, again, if the writing is anything negative or bad, that's just, it's what you're doing to yourself. And don't feel bad, because we've been trained for so long to think of ourselves as gods or goddesses is blasphemy. But I do want to point out, and it's not too often you're going to hear me quote the Bible, but I did go to Catholic school for like 12, 13 years. Hard to imagine. And 4 of them were in an all-girls Catholic school. You can imagine how proud my mother is of the way I turned out. But enough about me. The point about the Bible is this, that there is, I wish I knew the passage, but Jesus has said to people, hasn't my Father told you that you are all gods and goddesses? Actually, I don't think he said the goddess part, but he said that you are all gods. So it's not just you men folk, okay? Anyway, so back to the divination tools. This is my crystal ball, but you can use any dense object to scry into and get messages. Along the lines of crystals, I have a few here. I mentioned in other episodes that there's a great store, unfortunately it's the only one that I know of, in Rockville Center, called A Place for Karma or A Time for Karma, something karma. Anyway, and here's where you can get crystal balls, pendulums, crystals, tarot card decks. It's a wonderful place to go, Rockville Center. Anyway, so crystals. This is another thing. This is not so much a divination tool, but it's things that you can carry around with you that'll help you throughout the day, okay? First thing we have here is a clear quartz. It's very tiny. Oh, why am I showing you this one when I have a much bigger one here? Duh. Anyway, this is clear quartz. Now, this would be hard to carry around, especially if you're a guy. Is that a stick of clear quartz in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Let's go back to the smaller piece, shall we? I know, it's a family show. Maybe the kiddies won't get that innuendo. Anyway, these come in all sizes, okay? So what you want to do, like perhaps if you're a woman, you could keep it in your bra. If you're a man, in your pocket. If you're a woman, in your pocket. If you're a man, wearing a bra, in the bra. We having fun out there? Okay, so clear quartz is universal. It's good for absolutely everything. What it's most commonly used for is protection. This will protect your energy, protect your sensitive aura, so that when people say nasty things to you, do nasty things to you, engage you in conflict and aggression, this will really give you more of a sense of peace and calm and protection. Okay, when I used to have to go to court during my divorce, I would always, I would have rather packed a gun, I'll be honest with you, but instead I packed some clear quartz, and I knew, okay, no matter what crap they say about me, it's just not going to affect me. And it didn't. Okay, the next one is black obsidian. This absorbs negativity. Again, use it the same way. The bra, the pocket. It doesn't really make sense to keep it in your purse because it really has to be closer to your body for it to really work. This can also be used if you come home and you've had a really awful day and you've absorbed so much negativity that you just feel, you know the feeling. Hang on to this. Doesn't matter which hand. You might even want to lay it on your heart chakra, third eye, do a little balancing number there, anything, and it will absolutely just pull the negativity right out of you. This is the equivalent of like drinking a bottle of wine. It just pulls all the negativity out and much less calories. Okay, then you have, now this is kind of a lighter version. It comes in a darker pink. This is rose quartz. This is the love crystal, okay? Use it wisely, nothing stupid, because we always have to remember about karma. And a word about the crystals too, is that after back to the black obsidian, after you've used it and it's absorbed all the negativity, it's like a battery. It has to be recharged. So you run it under a little warm water, maybe put it in the windowsill overnight. If you can get the sunlight at it, the moonlight at it, sometimes I stick it in a potted plant, anything to recharge their energies as well, because these babies are working overtime to help us out. So now the rose quartz can be carried around with you, can also be placed in windowsills. Again, you never want to assign somebody's name, I'm in love with this guy Richard, so if I'm holding this rose quartz, then Richard is going to ask me out. Bad idea, folks. I would be interfering with Richard's free will. What I can do with this crystal, though, is say, I'm ready for love. I'm open for love. I'm open for romance. I have a broken heart that I need to heal. Again, carry the rose quartz around. It'll help with that. Okay, it's not a malachite. It's a green gem. But this is primarily used for healing, okay? Anything green, the malachite, the jade, the emerald, all this kind of thing. If you're not feeling well, if you have long-term illness, and again, I'm not trying to put doctors out of business, you know, if you're on medication, you can stay that way for a while until you feel it's time to try something a little more natural. And it's belief. You got to believe. Otherwise, I'm just standing here holding a green rock, okay? But if you believe, if you have a headache, when you go to sleep, well, not when you go to sleep, you roll right off your head, but lay there for a few minutes with the green gem on the place that's hurting you. Here, also healing a broken heart, there, a broken hand, so on and so forth. Green is the healing stone. Okay, amethyst, this is a lovely, it's not really going to show that way because of the 5 million lights on me, but you'll notice I'm not complaining about it this time because it's cold in here. Amethyst is, it's not healing like the green gemstones. This is more soothing. This is more relaxing. When you've had a chaotic day and the kids are driving you nuts, you know, before you go for the bath or the wine, just try holding on to an amethyst crystal, okay? And then go for the bath and the wine. Okay, then we have citrine. Isn't this a nice orange stone? Citrine is used for people that have sexual problems. This is sort of the equivalent of, oh God, what's that drug everybody's on? Viagra. Crystal Viagra. What it does is, a lot of times sexual problems are mental and emotional problems. Man can't perform, but it's not because, you know, it's not working, because there's something up here that's not working. Women maybe still have all these misconceptions about sex. Maybe it's still bad and dirty and only for, you know, procreating children. So if that's the case, if you find you're having any of these little issues, just can't show you all the way down, but between your belly button and down, as we know the region, belly button and down, is your sacral chakra, okay? So you place a citrine, or here we have also amber. Notice how they're both similar in color. The reason is that your sacral chakra corresponds with the color orange. So anyway, you just place it on there and just kind of let it do its thing. And this, unfortunately, these are not hold it for 5 seconds and you're cured. It's a repeat practice, and you really have to get yourself believing in it or it won't work. And the last crystal I want to show you is pyrite. Not pyro, pyrite. Also known as fool's gold. It's kind of cool, right? So let's say you would like to be making more money, or even not money. Let's say you just want to bring about the flow of abundance, because abundance can come with tons of holiday party invitations, a promotion at work, a new job altogether, somebody giving you a gift, a great deal on a new car. If you carry around pyrite, and again, it's kind of got to be close enough to your body, so no pocketbooks, okay? You can keep it in the bra, keep it in the pocket. You could actually probably even put it under your pillow so that you'll dream abundant thoughts and you get maybe be inspired to have more creative ideas that can bring about abundance. Then this is what you want, pyrite. Okay, so now we've done the crystal ball and crystals. Now I'm going to show you the pendulum, okay? I showed you in other episodes how you can make your own, which is basically anything that's weighted. So you would take like a shoelace and an earring or something, or if you go to this store that I told you about, you can buy this. So mine happens to be crystal quartz on a string. That's all it is. And again, divination tool coming from the divine. The pendulum, you have to know how these tools can answer you. In the terms of the pendulum, it can really only give you yes, no, or the dreaded, I'm not going to tell you right now. That one sucks, believe me, and they're not doing it just to mess with us. Here's an example, okay? Yes is clockwise, no is counterclockwise, and I'm not going to tell you is when it just kind of stands in the middle and vibrates. Now you think, first of all, really cautionary word, don't overuse this. It is probably the simplest of all the divination tools, but it's also way tempting, you know? Is that guy going to ask me out? And then it goes no. and then you ask it again the next day and the next day. It's not really what you're supposed to be doing, okay? You have to be objective enough to hear what the universe has to say. And if it's in the middle here, see what it's doing? And I didn't even ask a question. Not going to tell you. It's not because the universe is trying to mess with you. It's that they are omnipotent, so they know everything. They don't even have time constraint on the other side. So they kind of know when we should hear things at the most perfect time, and also, when we have to do some of the legwork ourselves. So again, you want to get into sort of a meditative state, and you have to phrase your question that it can be answered yes or no. Trying to think of an example that I can give you on camera. Well, all right, this is a little dumb, but, is my name Michelle? See? Now, you might think I'm moving it myself, but I'm not, and my name is Michelle. Don't overuse this. It's tempting, I know. Okay, one of the last divination tools that I'm going to use is the tarot card deck. Okay, there are 78 cards in this deck. This is my deck that I've had for, wow, like 10 years. So when I do tarot card readings for people, like some of you out there that have called and I've done it, and of course I can do it over the phone. That's even easier. Sometimes people like to come here and have the whole witch experience, which you experience 6, 7, or 8 cats and kids running around. I don't know if that's such a great experience. Sometimes the phone is better. So there is the major arcana and the minor arcana. It's 78 in all. Sometimes people do different spreads with these decks. Anybody can learn the tarot. Anybody can learn any of this stuff. The tarot is actually pretty easy because every card is very specific. So you really have to sort of memorize it. And then you either have to do the spreads that they show you. The most popular, I guess, is, I don't do this one, it's the Celtic Cross. So it gives you a little bit of what happened in the past, a little bit what's going on in the present, a little bit of what will be happening in the future. Moreover, that spread will tell you the support and the strength that you have in your life, and will also tell you, it's called that which crosses you. So like maybe you have a negative person in your life, or maybe you're holding yourself back. So all these cards are very specific. You can pick up any deck anywhere. I've kind of come up over the years with my own spread, which is called the Cauldron spread. Big surprise there, I'm sure. And I feel that gives the most accurate readings. That being said, there are three cards in the tarot that everybody hates, and I want to explain them for a minute. These have been known as, I guess, the awkward cards. There's nothing negative in the tarot, okay? But you have to be, if you are a reader, either for yourself or definitely for others, you have to have the utmost of respect and compassion. I can't tell you how many people have come to me who have gone to a psychic reader and gotten some of the most horrific information, and it blows my mind how people cannot take a moment to be responsible, okay? That's the watchword here: responsibility, respect, and compassion. Again, even though there's nothing negative in the tarot deck, I am going to show you these 3 cards, okay? Now, the first one that people cringe when it comes out is from the major arcana. Actually, they're all from the major arcana. This one is the Devil. You see that? Again, I apologize for my shaking hands, but we're taping today and I haven't eaten all day. Okay. Wouldn't kick him out of bed. Anyway, the Devil. There we go. Look at that. Look at the biceps, huh? Yum. Okay. What does the Devil mean? The Devil card in the tarot deck can represent a few things. It could represent, if it comes up and you have to see, if you decide to get involved in using the tarot, you don't just do one card. One card does not a reading make. You have to put out enough so that it's actually reading like a story, and you have to see how these cards are aspected, what other cards are around them. If a woman comes to me and says, oh, I met this guy, and oh, he's so sweet, and I like him so much, and he already wants, just to be exclusive with me, and the Devil card comes out, I would caution the woman that he might be a bit of a player, because that's the card that represents, kind of lust, and which is not a bad thing by any means. But, if she's thinking he's one way and the devil card comes out, might want to look a little closer at that situation. Sometimes the devil card can come out if a person has long-standing addictions to alcohol, to drugs, to porn. Where did that come from? So yeah, the devil card, again, none of these cards are bad, but these are the three that make people a little uncomfortable. But you know what? Again, it's the universe's way of telling you, you might think this is, you don't want to see the devil card come up, but you need to be aware of it in terms of this guy, in terms of your own addictive behaviors. Actually, sometimes when I'm doing a reading, wow, I just combined reading and mediumship, a mediumship. Anyway, if I'm talking about somebody who's deceased in a reading, I rarely have to use the tarot card for that. But if I do, and again, if the devil card comes out, maybe the deceased person passed because of an addiction, a drug overdose or something. My producer's raising his hand, but you're still alive, so... Oh, actually, he's telling me 5 minutes. I thought he was just waving to me. Okay, so that's the devil card. Are we clear on that? It doesn't mean the devil with the pitchfork and all that. It just means addiction, lust. It's your very basic desires, sometimes that which people don't like to share. Okay. Awkward card number 2. The Tower. Okay. Can we see the Tower card here? Now, actually, when some of you out there that are seeing this card, it may be, unfortunately, a little too reminiscent of what happened 9/11, because you see it's a tower, and you see there's fire, and you see it's cracked in half, and you see a guy falling out of the building. I will tell you that the Tower card has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, so it's not made to resemble 9/11 at all. Let me explain this about the Tower card, okay? And again, this is, people see the card, maybe they have a question about their relationship, and all of a sudden here comes the Tower card. Cringeworthy. But here's what it means. When you have a situation that has been built for a long time on lies, deception, half-truths, manipulation, and if in some level you really know you should get out of that relationship, but you just don't, the universe will oftentimes create a situation where it's a dramatic end, but it's a necessary one. And, with this, there always comes the opportunity for fresh start, new beginning. So people don't like the Tower because it means either they've already experienced something like that, and that's what brought them to me, or depending where it is in the reading, if it's located in the future, they know it's coming. But you know what? This is life. And so if you recognize it for what it is, and when something sort of cataclysmic happens, you recognize it, that this situation is now over and done and resolved, and it's on to better and newer and fresh start. So again, my apologies for its resemblance to the 9/11 atrocity in the towers, but this is the way the card was depicted hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Okay, and I saved the best for last. The final awkward card in the tarot deck. I bet some of you out there already know which one I'm going to show. Dun, 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 dun. Why, it's none other than our friend Death. Yeah, and okay, they probably didn't have to show it in such a creepy light as this, with the skull and all the gray. Nobody likes the Death card, okay? And it's understandable, I suppose. I mean, as humans, we tend to almost fear death. But let me tell you about this. Now, again, I've had people that have come to me that have gone to psychics, and the Death card comes out, and the psychic will say something like, somebody that you love is going to die very soon. Or worse yet, and believe me, folks, I'm not kidding. I've heard this one. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. It looks like you're going to die very soon. It sounds outrageous, but it's happened, and people have been told this. First of all, it is my 100% belief that nobody knows death. No one can predict death. Certainly, if you work in a nursing home, as I do, and you see patients that are put on hospice, it's sort of a no-brainer that it's coming, but nobody can predict death. Not a psychic. It's between your soul and God. And that's it. So please don't ever be deluded into thinking that. The Death card is actually not a bad card. It's very similar to the Towers, except where the Towers is more explosive. The Death card means it can happen in a more gentle fashion. But again, you have to see what it's aspected. Is it about your love life, your career? It's the end of one phase, the beginning of another. It's always the promise of renewal and rebirth. So actually, the Death card is not such a bad thing. It could mean if you have children that are acting up and this Death card comes up, doesn't mean death to the children. It means maybe all that bad behavior is ending and now good behavior is on the way. So take it for what it is. It really only means change. You know, it's kind of like that when God closes one door, he opens up another. That's really what the Death card is all about. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I thought it was fun. We did the crystal ball, the crystals, the pendulum, the tarot card. And again, there's so many more divination tools. Maybe I'll discuss that in future episodes. So again, use these things wisely. Know that if you're using them in a true manner, they come from the divine, so you're not ever going to be given any negative or bad information at all. Only help, peace of mind, comfort, and understanding. Okay? So, I'd like to thank you for watching Angels, Fairies, and Witches. Thank you for allowing me into your home, and I will see you next week. This is Michelle saying have a blessed evening.